Good morning, boys and girls. Today we're going to be writing a PSA. Before we write it, we're going to analyze a model. Okay. Um, Today you're going to listen to a PSA, and after that, you will analyze the model to generate a criteria, like criteria meaning what is expected of you to include in your PSA. And at the end of the lesson, you will share about what you are researching. Okay, so let's listen to one of the PSAs. Here's the PSA. You just finished watching the PSA about washing your hands. Let's look at the performance test that we're going to have to do. You're going to be recording a PSA, and in this module, you have learned about a particular kind of natural disaster and have read literature written by people who experienced a particular kind of natural disaster and the effect it had on them. You also recorded a PSA about how to stay safe during a natural disaster. That's what we're going to be working on, this PSA on how to stay safe. You are going to use all of this learning and knowledge to educate others about how to stay safe during a natural disaster. You are going to present your PSA to a live audience and unpack an emergency preparedness kit, sharing your reasonings or reasons for practical and personal items that you have chosen to include. This presentation serves to raise awareness of the importance of an emergency preparedness kit and to help others make choices about what to include in such a kit. The presentation, including playing the PSA, should be no longer than 3 minutes. All right, right. Here's what your presentation should include: a brief introduction to your PSA, how and why you made it, playing your PSA, unpacking your emergency preparedness kit, explaining what you have packed and why, and then distributing a leaflet for people to take home that explains what they should do in a natural disaster and includes a list of things to pack in an emergency preparedness kit. Okay. Today you're going to work together in your natural disaster groups. Please show each other respect, behave with integrity, show empathy, and we're going to practice some compassion. You are to collaborate with your group. Persevere. If it's hard, just keep trying. I want you to show initiative and take responsibility in your work. Okay. Here's how we're going to um, work with our habits of character. Read it with me. I apply my learning to help our school, the community, and the environment. I use my strengths to help others grow, and I take care of and improve our shared spaces and the environment. This is the purpose of us doing the PSA. Okay. So, what is this PSA about? So, I want you to think about what we just heard In the discussion post, I want you to write model PSA, write the number 1, and tell me, what was the PSA about? Question 2, what is the purpose of this PSA? Question number 3, A, what do you like about this PSA? And what makes you want to listen to it? Okay, you can pause the video and respond to these questions in the discussion post. Okay, let's look at this PSA model. It says, did you know that almost everyone in the United States can be affected by blizzards and extreme cold? These storms can bring destructive winds, icing, sleet, and freezing rain. They can knock out heat and power for days. Snow and ice can cause serious accidents, and people can get badly hurt from being out in the cold for too long. It's important to know what to do if a blizzard occurs. Yes, even kids can prepare for blizzards. Here are some things you can do to keep yourself safe. Before the blizzard, make sure you have an emergency kit. Dress warmly and have extra blankets in case you lose power. Sprinkle sand on sidewalks and walkways outside to help make them less slippery from ice. Be prepared. During the storm, stay inside if you can. If you have to go outside, wear a hat and mittens and cover your mouth with a scarf. This will help protect you from the wind and snow. Pay attention to your fingers, toes, ears, and nose. If you can't feel them or they appear pale white, tell someone. You might have frostbite. Do your best to protect yourself from the bitter cold while the blizzard is happening. Blizzards sound scary, don't they? But they don't have to be. Make sure you have a plan so you know what to do and where to go if there's one. The more you know about blizzards and what to do during one, the better you can deal with it if one happens, and the safer you will be. Okay, what were some of the characteristics that you saw in this PSA? So here we have a PSA is a message directed towards people in a community used to help them become aware of a social issue. Okay. What have you learned today about what a PSA is? Yes, we know that it needs to include who they're talking to, what's the message that you're trying to get out, what you should do before the blizzard, what you could do during the blizzard, and the most important things to carry or have with you in an emergency prepared kit. Okay, let's review our learning targets. I can analyze a model in order to generate criteria for the effective PSA. Okay, let's look at the model. It says, this first one, I want you to pause the video and read it. And then in the discussion post, I want you to tell me, what does this first paragraph tell us about? All right. Now, pause the video, read the second paragraph. What is this describing? Post your answer in the discussion post. Here's paragraph number 3. Pause the video, read it, and tell me, What are we learning in this part of the PSA? Post your answer in the discussion post. And the last paragraph, what is this paragraph about? Do not submit your discussion post until you get to the last slide. Okay. How is the overall structure of the PSA similar to the informative essay we have written this year? Well, I noticed that both have an introduction and both have a conclusion and some, well, how they're different is an informative, you have proof paragraphs where you're explaining um, what you introduced in your introduction, and that's different from the PSA. Okay. Think about the Blizzard PSA. What is the target audience? The audience is, who do we want to read this or listen to this? And what in the PSA makes you think so? What key points did the writer make in this PSA? All right. Remember, a PSA is a message directed towards people in the community, and it's used to help them to become aware of a social issue. A social issue. PSAs, they are high quality, they are engaging, they have short, simple sentences with precise vocabulary that get straight to the point. You're urging your audience, you're persuading them to take action by giving commands. And you're going to use appropriate language for your target audience. Okay. All right. How many of you feel like you have been able to analyze the model in order to generate a criteria? All right. Now you may submit your discussion post.